That's all the aliens are to them. Dollar signs. That's it. You know what else? We can't even tell who the smuggler is most times. We round up 40, 50, and maybe 100 aliens, and the smuggler is in there. He's right there, within our reach. But they won't give him up. He threatens them, threatens their families, so they better stay quiet or else. There's only so much we can do if the aliens are afraid to help. People need to know that this is a dangerous job. People are getting hurt, agents and aliens. We're doing our best to help them and this nation. But the fact is, they're all committing a crime. And it's our duty to detain them. We don't want anyone to die. It's just that it's 1,100 square miles.
Later that day, we traveled to Sonora to camp out overnight in the desert with volunteers from a humanitarian group called No More Deaths. We got the chance to talk with Chris, a volunteer at the campsite.
I mean, the first thing that you have to understand, the first thing you have to know is that there are 1,100 square miles of desert. 1,100 square miles. That's a lot of ground to cover. Migrants are trying to cross it on foot, and we are trying to help them. That's all. We're not lifting up the fence so people can crawl under. It's their lives we care about, not their immigration status. The laws don't fit reality. These people are mostly farmers who have come driven out by an economy that won't support them. They're economic refugees. They're just trying to survive. We don't want anyone to die. It's all volunteer out here. People come out for a week or more. We do our best to make sure that the camp is staffed day and night during the summer. We go out on daily patrols, providing food, water, and medical evacuation to migrants in distress. We won't evacuate people to a hospital unless they are in bad shape. And even so, then we take the risk and move them. Why is it a risk? Why? It's a risk. Because if we transport refugees, then technically we're smuggling. Technically, it's a crime. But if it's a choice between obeying a law and saving a life, it's not much of a choice, is it? Isn't that our responsibility as human beings? Not just as Americans or Mexicans or Eskimos, for all I care. Human beings. That's what counts. Yeah, we can get arrested. 2 people got arrested last week for evacuating refugees to a hospital. But, I mean, think about it. Just think. Like, it's not a crime that these people, these innocent people, are dying in the desert. Instead, we waste manpower, and I mean, look over there. There's a border patrol watching us right now. They hover over this camp like a cloud when they could be out there saving someone's life. Maybe, if the policy got changed, they could focus on real issues like drug trafficking or terrorism instead of on people who just want to work. You should see the condition that some of these refugees are in. Their feet are bloodied and torn like hamburger. And the blisters, my God, sometimes the blisters on their faces, you wouldn't even know it was a person under there. These people, they are crossing the desert at the harshest time of the year, either baking under the sun or stumbling around in the night so dark. It's a miracle that they don't break their ankles every step. There can be days before we come across anyone. And it's weird, you know? There's this weird sense of disappointment when you don't find anyone out there. I mean, ideally, you don't want to find anyone dying of thirst or hunger or exposure, but still, You're walking through this wilderness shouting, "Tenemos agua y comida." And when there's no response, it's, I don't know, it's a letdown. But then we put on our the packs of food and water, and we come back the next day, and they're gone. So the refugees are finding them. And we find stuff. All kinds of things that refugees have left behind. Empty water bottles, food wrappers, backpacks, photos, clothing. Children's clothing. Things for babies sometimes. We find that. It's like a life strewn out all behind them. We can piece together histories with what we find. It's not trash. Don't let anyone tell you it's trash. It's not. Sometimes, though, there's hardly anything left. Sometimes there's only bones. Have you heard the story about the father looking for his daughter? He's been searching every day for her. I hear he found 3 other bodies along the way. I hope there's more of her body left when we tried to help him find her. It's just that it's 1,100 square miles.
August 2nd. This morning we met with Dr. Parks, one of Tucson medical examiners at the Forensic Science Center. In the afternoon, we talked to Jeronimo Garcia, an intern at the Mexican Consulate Office in Tucson, Arizona.
So you just basically want to know what we do here. Is that it?
I am Jeronimo. I'm an intern at the Mexican Consulate here in Tucson.
My name is Dr. Bruce Parks. I am one of 2 doctors working as coroners in the medical examiner's office.
I was born and raised in Mexico. I went to university and I was most interested in foreign policy.
Here at the Forensic Science Center in Tucson, we work with the Mexican consulate to identify undocumented aliens.
A big part of my job is to work with the medical examiners to try to identify the bodies of migrants who have died in the desert.
Excuse me, undocumented border crossers. We don't call them aliens anymore. People who die in transit.
Last year in 2004, in just this area, there were 124 migrant deaths.
Prior to 2000, we didn't see people crossing the desert. We might see half a dozen deaths of border crossers, mostly from being hit by an automobile. Maybe there would be a heat-related death or 2.
This year there was already 109 migrant deaths. It's only August.
This year we ran out of room in our cooler. We had to rent a refrigerated truck.
64 of these deaths occurred just last month.
We try to identify people as best we can, and we get the Mexican consulate involved for just about every suspected border crosser death.
I try to connect the body with an identity so the family can know, to make more easier, because sometimes the dead body don't have ID or phone numbers. We go to medical examiner to take picture, to have all the characteristics, what color of the hair, eyes, how tall he is, and also to take a picture of the face.
It's not very common that we get somebody who is recognizable, so a picture of the face doesn't do a whole lot of good.
All the information we can get.
It's very rare for us to get anybody here who doesn't show some signs of decomposition.
How about the face?
The face turns green and swells. The whole body gets bloated. Animals will feed on the body, take parts of the body. You see the gnaw marks on the bones.
Sometimes they hide phone numbers or ID in the collar of their shirt, or the inside of the belt, or in the tongue of their shoe. But sometimes we don't have no phone numbers, no names, no IDs, no pictures, nothing. Only the clothing.
Maybe they are skeletonized, just bones.
Many people will throw away their identification because they are afraid and they will travel with a false name.